In one peaceful Georgia town, a grieving mother buried not one, but two infants in less than a year. Authorities called it heartbreak, until a chilling pattern emerged. Behind her gentle smile, detectives uncovered a secret so dark, it changed everything they thought they knew about Emily Hart. The town of Willow Creek was the kind of place people drove through without ever noticing. It sat tucked beneath thick Georgia pine trees, quiet and content in its own rhythm. Every mailbox looked freshly painted, every lawn neatly trimmed. Dogs barked lazily behind fences, and the smell of sweet tea and honeysuckle drifted through warm summer evenings. The townspeople believed they lived in a safe corner of the world, where tragedy belonged only in newspapers from far-off cities. They trusted the familiar faces they saw each day at the grocery store, the gas station, and the church on Main Street. Emily Hart fit perfectly into that picture. She moved to Willow Creek when she was just 21, ready to start a peaceful life with her husband and build a family. Her smile won people over instantly, and her calm voice made others feel at ease. Social media showed her as a proud new mother, always holding her infant daughter close. Neighbors admired how dedicated she seemed. She took long stroller walks around the block and introduced her baby to everyone she met. People described her as gentle, patient, and loving. There was no reason to expect anything was wrong. In late June, the weather was unbearably hot. People kept to shady porches or stayed indoors waiting for evening breezes. On one of those heavy mornings, a chilling siren echoed through the quiet neighborhoods, cutting through the still air. Emergency trucks stopped outside the Hart home. The bright lights and rush of first responders snapped the peaceful town awake. Residents peeked from windows, confused and frightened. News spread quickly. Emily's baby had been found unresponsive in her crib. The police and medics worked quickly, but nothing could be done. The infant girl, only 3 months old, was gone. The official word was that she had passed away in the night, likely from a silent medical issue no one had noticed. People gathered around Emily to offer comfort. They brought meals and cards, trying to fill the emptiness in the house. Many cried with her, insisting that such heartbreak should never happen to a mother so devoted. The funeral was filled with white flowers, soft prayers, and a community deeply shaken. The loss felt personal to everyone, not just to Emily. Willow Creek had never experienced a tragedy like this, especially not involving such a tiny life. For weeks, anytime a baby cried in the grocery store or on a front porch, parents held their children a little closer. They reminded each other how lucky they were and how quickly everything could change. As summer faded into fall, life tried to move forward again. The sound of lawnmowers returned. School buses rolled through the streets. Neighbors hoped Emily would find peace in time. They believed the worst was behind them. Nobody questioned the official reports. Nobody imagined a darker truth could be hiding beneath the surface. In Willow Creek, trust remained strong, and suspicion was something people left to the outside world. The community tried to help Emily rebuild her life after the loss of her daughter. People saw her tending to her garden again, trimming flowers that once decorated the baby's room. She returned small smiles to neighbors who waved from across lawns. Everyone admired how she seemed to find the strength to go on. Months passed, and the tragedy became something whispered about only when the streets were empty and the night felt too quiet. Then Emily shared news that appeared to bring sunlight back into her life. She was expecting another baby. The town greeted the announcement with joy and relief. Friends organized a baby shower in the church hall. Gifts piled high, wrapped in soft blues and yellows. People told her that this new child would help heal her broken heart. Emily thanked them and stood calmly in front of everyone, her hands resting protectively on her growing belly. She spoke little, but her eyes carried something unreadable that no one dared question. When her son was born, the town celebrated again. Pictures of him bundled in a blanket filled her social media pages. His cheeks were round, and he had a tiny tuft of dark hair. Emily looked proud, though a tiredness clung to her expression. Neighbors checked in with her, delivering casseroles and offering help whenever she needed it. They believed this time would be different, that the darkness had passed. 6 weeks later, another siren pierced the morning quiet of Willow Creek. The same ambulance that once rushed to save her daughter turned onto the Hart driveway again. Residents stepped outside, dread gripping their chests as they watched the scene unfold in an eerie, familiar pattern. The word spread like wildfire across phone screens and hurried whispers. Emily's second baby had died. The shock was deeper than before. It wasn't possible, people said. It couldn't happen again so soon. To the same mother, for the same unexplained reason. Fear hovered over the town like a cloud that refused to move. They noted the untouched baby bottles and the baby monitor that had been turned off. A quiet question began forming in their minds. One they didn't dare voice aloud. How could one mother face such loss twice? Whispers traveled faster than truths. The once perfect image of Emily Hart began to crack. Doubt sneaked into conversations that once held sympathy. Willow Creek, once comfortable and trusting, was slowly beginning to tremble beneath the weight of uncertainty. After the second funeral, Willow Creek could no longer ignore the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The police returned to the Hart home, not as visitors offering sympathy, but as investigators searching for answers. Their eyes scanned every detail with suspicion they hadn't allowed themselves to feel before. The nursery door, once covered in bright stickers and pastel paint, now stood like the entrance to a room filled with silent questions. Inside, nothing looked the way one might expect after the loss of a baby. Toys that should have shown signs of a child's presence sat untouched on shelves, their bright plastic still shiny, as if they had just been removed from their packaging. The atmosphere was strangely cold. There was no lingering scent of baby lotion or spilled formula, only stillness. The officers noticed scratches dug into the wood beneath the crib. Deep grooves, as if heavy furniture had been dragged back and forth many times. A layer of dust covered it, even though it should have been used every night. Police asked more questions. Emily offered short answers. She repeated that she had simply woken up to find her baby gone. The explanations sounded almost too simple, too rehearsed. Medical examiners tried to determine why the infants died, but each report ended in the same uncertain line. Cause of death undetermined. No bruises. No obvious signs of harm. She still appeared calm every day, watering her plants, checking her mail, maintaining the house as if life continued normally. But her peaceful behavior only made people more uneasy. How could a mother lose 2 babies and show almost no emotion? Rumors grew stronger. People wondered if something dark hid behind her quiet smile. They questioned whether she had ever shown real attachment to her children. Children hurried past it on their way home from school. Adults whispered about the tragedies that happened inside. And although no one dared say it out loud, many believed the same chilling thought. Terrible things do not happen twice for no reason. Insurance documents revealed a disturbing pattern. For each child she bore, she had taken out sizable life insurance policies shortly after birth. Each payout was used to relocate and start over somewhere new, with neighbors who knew nothing of her past. Carefully planned, each move erased the clues left behind. Investigators also uncovered accounts from people who once knew her. A former co-worker described Emily as secretive and detached. Another recalled seeing her argue with a social worker after she refused home visits during one of her pregnancies. Each testimony added another layer of suspicion. The eeriest discovery came when officers searched the attic again, this time with a warrant. Hidden behind a loose wooden board, they found a metal box. Inside were hospital bracelets from each of the 3 children she lost, along with ultrasound photos marked with dates and notes in her handwriting. The final item was a folded piece of paper, edges worn from being opened many times. The message written inside read like a chilling statement. Only she understood. They were never meant to exist. This note offered no explanation, no remorse, and no insight into her mind. It only deepened the horror of everything she had done. Experts later said the case presented one of the coldest behavioral profiles they had ever seen. No outbursts, no visible guilt, only a frightening calmness. Emily was charged with multiple counts, but she never spoke a single word in court. Neighbors who once comforted her now avoided her name, afraid to acknowledge their own misplaced trust. Families locked their doors before dark. A town that once lived without fear now checked every shadow twice. Willow Creek would always remember how one quiet woman had destroyed its peace, leaving behind a mystery that no one would ever fully understand.